And welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for Fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan, and today I've got for you a Game Week 2 wildcard draft for you guys to use, a template you can kind of work off of, and I think it's really good. I have to say before we go any further though, guys, I'm definitely not recommending to wildcard right now unless you absolutely hate your team, you really think it's the worst team in the world, you're really regretting a lot of your decisions, or you're starting from Game Week 2, you didn't actually start FPL in Game Week 1, you started in Game Week 2, then perhaps we have a team that is going to be pretty good for you. Also, obviously, this is not my team either. Again, not recommending to wildcard unless your team is really tragic. And that is a possibility, but just like try and calm down a little bit and see if you really need to wildcard. But if I was to wildcard, my team would be a little bit like the team you're about to see today, guys. So if you do enjoy this video, please do leave a like, please do subscribe as well. And that will all be very amazing. Thank you very much, guys. Let's get on with the video. Alright, we're going to go position by position. I've actually got a team value here of 99.4 million. The reason I've gone a little bit under the 100 million budget is just because I know a lot of those of you who are going to be wildcarding, many of you may have lost a little bit of team value, and that may be part of the reason why you are trying to pull the wildcard, because your team is just completely mudded. So we're going to go a little bit cheap. There is some flexi positions in this team as well, where I think you can potentially upgrade depending on your own personal budget, but we'll talk about them as we get to them. But let's start off in goal with Raya. I still do think he is the best 4.5 million goalkeeper to go for, although, you know, if you prefer maybe a Sanchez, then that is obviously a good choice as well. After this Manchester United game, which I don't even know if the United game is that hard, but after that game, the fixtures really do look amazing for Brentford, and I think there's going to be a good amount of clean sheets, and I think Raya is a good goalkeeper who will keep a lot of clean sheets as well. He's a little bit differential, but this is a flexi position. Sanchez will be a good option as well. Maybe Ramsdale if you want to move to the 5 million goalkeeper bracket. You can afford it, depending on your budget, you can afford to upgrade this position if you want. You can maybe go for Mendy as well at Chelsea. It's kind of up to you. There's a few options there. Going into defense, we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, like, you just kind of have to have him. And he's one of those players. I know he scored 1 point last week, and so did Robertson, by the way. If you are, you know, you've got an FPL team, and you're looking at your team, and you've got Trent and Robertson, and you're thinking, oh my word, I have to get these players out because they only scored 1 point in Game Week 1. Just don't think of it like that. That is not a reason to wildcard, because good players scored low points. Good players will score low points all the time. They can't get perfect scores every single game week. So try not to judge him too much on one game week. And Trent is definitely someone you do not want to judge based on one game week, because if we go through previous seasons, he's one of the highest scorers in the whole Premier League every year for years now. So yeah, definitely an absolute must-have in your FPL team. Arguably one of the most must-have players in the entirety of FPL, despite his low game week 1 score. So Trent definitely for these the clean sheets and the attacking returns that you'll get from him as well. The fixtures look really good, really liking the look of some of these from a defensive point of view and from an attacking point of view in some of them as well. So yeah, really good player to pick up. Cancelo is going to be in this team as well. Really obvious player. We're going to go for some Man City players, of course, in this wildcard team, just because we've got such a nice run of fixtures, particularly from the defensive point of view. I know a lot of people will be looking for attackers for this Bournemouth fixture, but if you look at some of these other fixtures, Newcastle and Crystal Palace there as well, those two fixtures, I don't think Manchester City will score too many goals in those two fixtures, but I have to say, I would say, you know, over the next 4 game weeks, that could be 4 out of 4 clean sheets, genuinely. So we definitely want to invest in the Man City defence. Why not go for someone who is, you know, nailed on, fairly attacking, well, very attacking, playing pretty much as a midfielder, making lots of passes, picking up those bonus points, and that is Cancelo. And we're going to double up as well in the Man City defence, and we're going to go for Kyle Walker. Still no sign of a, you know, a really high quality new fullback at Manchester City as of yet. It may happen before the end of the transfer window, but I don't think there's anyone that is going to displace a Cancelo or a Walker just yet. So I think we're safe to double up on the Man City fullbacks. I think they should be pretty nailed on for the time being, at least. So yeah, again, really good fixtures, lots of opportunities for clean sheets. I wouldn't expect as many attacking returns as you would perhaps from Cancelo, but Walker is still occupying some decent positions kind of further up the pitch, will make a lot of passes, possibly get bonus points in a low scoring game for Manchester City, but I wouldn't really expect too many attacking returns. But hey, for 5 million to get, like, probably possibly 4 out of 4 clean sheets over the next 4. You know, that's really not bad value at all. So we will absolutely take that with Kyle Walker. And we're going to finish off the defense with a flexi position, and that is Zinchenko. So Zinchenko is one of the players in this team who I don't think is really essential at all. It's kind of an optional position. I put Zinchenko in here for now. I think he's a really, really good option to go for. Good attacking ability, you know, some good fixtures here from defensive point of view as well. So I think there could be clean sheets for Arsenal. And I think over the Bournemouth, Fulham and Aston Villa games, we're kind of hoping for clean sheets there, really. So if Zinchenko keeps his place, maybe moves into the midfield position as well when Tierney's back, could be really exciting. If he's continued to be, you know, creative, take the odd shot on as well, I think that's going to be really good and give some opportunity for some goal returns. We could have some really nice points. And even if he doesn't get goals, you know, he's one of those players who plays a lot of passes, he's quite creative, and that naturally generates you bonus points, even if you don't get any attacking return. So a clean sheet may be enough to get Zinchenko bonus points. And again, in a low-scoring game, that could be pretty good indeed. So yeah, maybe there's some other options you can go for here though. Lewis Dunk, if you want to get in the Brighton defence, perhaps. You know, maybe if you're not going for a Brentford goalkeeper, maybe you can go for a Brentford defender instead. There's a couple of different options. Maybe if you want to go for a Perisic, if you want to take a bit of a risk on him, or try and get in a Reece James in this kind of position, it is technically possible if you mess around with your budget a little bit. So yeah, there's different options to go for in this position. Maybe even Gabriel if you don't quite trust Zinchenko's minutes. So yeah, that's the flexi position in defence, I suppose. We have got one more flexi position, I think, in this team, but we'll go through some of the essentials first. And one of the essentials in this team is obviously going to be Mo Salah. So yeah, Mo Salah is going to be in this team, no doubt about that. You can captain him pretty much in any game week you like. He rotates with captaincy quite well with some of the Manchester City options as well. So yeah, obviously a crazy scoring FPL asset for the last however many years, forever. You know, he seems to be going forever. Absolute king of FPL over the last few years, isn't he? And yeah, even when he plays badly, he gets FPL points. And that's why I think Salah is just so good for FPL and so essential for FPL, because he doesn't even need to play well to get you those FPL points. So really, really good pick. You know, he's worth every bit of money that he costs. And I think anyone going without him is going to quickly regret it. I think people who didn't go for Salah in Game Week 1 are already regretting it. Don't be one of those guys who doesn't get Salah and ends up falling behind and regretting it. Just make sure you have him. He's just, you know, very, very essential as a player. We've got Martinelli next in midfield. Very, very cheap option at 6.1 million. He has actually risen in price a little bit, but that's fine. These fixtures look really good from an attacking point of view. You know, Arsenal attackers now have got free reign to go absolutely wild, so I would make sure you guys are going in on the Arsenal attack at the moment. Leicester at home starting off is a game where Arsenal could go and score a couple of goals with the talent they have. Martinelli playing in that really nice advanced position looks to be reasonably nailed on. Never say 100% with a player like Martinelli, but he looks reasonably nailed on at the moment, which is very, very good. Playing well, scored a goal in his first appearance for Arsenal of the season, so that's always good for form and for staying in the team. So lots of things to like about Martinelli, and for 6.1 million to get an attacker essentially from a top team is really such good value. Can you imagine if you can get an attacker for 6 million from the likes of, you know, Chelsea or Spurs or, you know, Manchester United? You'd be going absolutely wild for it, but you can't. But Martinelli, you can. So yeah, let's finish off the midfield with another flexi position, the final flexi position, and that's Fornals. I've put Fornals in here before. Obviously, you can go up to maybe 6 million, maybe 6.5 million in this position, but I've gone for Fornals as a little bit of a differential. You know, we've got Nottingham Forest up next, which I think is a good fixture. A couple of alright fixtures after that as well, Brighton and Aston Villa. Fornals for 5.5 million, I think could actually be a real decent bargain. So I kind of like the look of this one. The only minor concerns is maybe Maxwell Cornet comes in and takes some minutes off him, or maybe, you know, Lanzini is preferred to Fornals as well. I'm not exactly sure how West Ham are going to set up. I guess we'll have to see. But 5.5 million, you know, for a real differential, it seems like a really nice little budget option. But of course, there's loads of other options, guys. You can go for Pascal Gross if you like the look of him in Game Week 1 for Brighton, playing in that kind of right attacking midfield, right wing type position. I think his positioning looked good. Now, he's certainly on the radar. You can go for Neto if you still have confidence in Neto. You can go for Dewsbury Hall if you want to go for 5 million instead. There's loads of options around that price point. So flexi position, have some fun with this one. Definitely not committed to Fornals, but I think Fornals is an interesting shout that I thought I would just throw in there just to just to mess with you guys a little bit and get you guys thinking a little bit about some different potential differentials we can start going for on our wild card. So yeah, speculative, but I actually really like this pick. So that's it. 3-man midfield. We're going to go up front. We're going to have a 3-man strike force as well. So start off with the obvious one, Erling Haaland. Haaland, you know, 11.6 million now. He's just going up and up in price. Probably be 11.7 by the deadline on Saturday. So fine, you know, he's an absolute essential player for this Bournemouth fixture. Like, there's no one really doubting that he's going to have such a good game. And then hopefully he's still going to be nailed on at least until the Champions League starts. I think if he survives until that midweek game against Nottingham Forest at home, I think everyone's going to be very pleased. He does look like the focal point, the centrepiece of this Manchester City team, which is something we weren't really sure if that was going to be the case or not. But yeah, absolutely, everything is built seemingly around Haaland at Manchester City, judging by that first game. And if that trend continues, he's going to just score so many goals right off the bat. I thought, you know, it would take a little while to adapt. I thought it would be, you know, I thought, you know, De Bruyne would still be everything built around him, but things are changing. Things are changing at Manchester City. There's a bit of a revolution here. Not that they need one, because they're so good already. But yeah, Haaland is going to absolutely smash it against Bournemouth. I think everyone agrees with that. I think his chances of scoring, you know, a brace in this game are probably about as much as him blanking in this game. It really is that severe. Yeah, Jesus up next, another Arsenal attacker. Like I say, these Arsenal fixtures are so good. I was really impressed by Jesus in the game week 1. People will be like selling Jesus, and I know people are selling Jesus because they don't look at performances. They look at points, and obviously Jesus blanked, but there were some real nice moments where he could have easily scored some points, and you know, those are definitely signs that in some of these easier games from an attacking point of view, he can get some attacking returns. So really looking forward to seeing what he can produce, and I think he's going to be one of those players who makes his price tag look quite silly, and I think, you know, judging by how many people went for Jesus in game week 1, we can kind of understand why. So yeah, expecting big things from him in the upcoming game weeks. And let's finish off the first 11 with Darwin Nunez. So he's up to 9.1 million now, so a little bit of a price rise there as well. I think he could be really interesting. I know people are kind of not quite convinced by Darwin yet, but what's most interesting to me is his positioning. His positioning on the field was really impressive to me, and he's playing so centrally. He's playing such in a, you know, a nice poacher's kind of area where, you know, all the balls, you know, whether they get spilled over to him, whether they, you know, land at his feet by chance, or, you know, he's just being an option in the middle of the park. You know, he's got that big physicality as well going on. It's just got a lot going for him, and in this Liverpool side, I think he's just going to get so many chances to score goals just by default. He doesn't even need to score all of them to get crazy FPL points. So I think he's going to do really, really well. He's still a little bit of a differential, still like not a super differential, but still under 25% owned. So that's an advantage. If he does well for you, you know, you've got an advantage on 75% of FPL players, which is a decent amount of players. So yeah, I think that could be a really interesting one to go for with a wild card. And getting Darwin, particularly if you're already tripled up on Liverpool players, without a wild card, he's actually kind of a hard player to get to. So you can get yourself a real advantage now if you are a wild carder by going for Darwin, Salah and Trent as your combo, rather than one of the other combos that a lot of people are going for, usually Robertson or Diaz rather than Darwin. So yeah, like this one a lot. Let's bring up the bench, guys. We've got Ward, obviously the best 4 million goalkeeper. He plays against Arsenal away, but we're not going to play him, are we? We've got Andreas there, Andreas Pereira. Really, really nice for 4.5 million, playing super attacking in that Fulham side and on set pieces as well. We've got Patterson, who looks pretty good, had a good start to the season, playing right wing back in a back five, and he's got some decent fixtures as well. I think he could do quite well. And we've got Da Silva, who I think is the second best 4.5 million midfielder. He obviously scored in game week 1, which was pretty impressive. And you know what? If he starts against Manchester United, you might even back him to score again. So yeah, a really nice bench there. A bench I really like. Absolute cheapest possible players on the bench, but really nice ones as well. So there we go, guys. That is the Game Week 2 wildcard team. I think this is pretty good. Well, let's just slap a captain's armband on Haaland for Game Week 1, I suppose. Vice captain on Salah. Why not? But I also want to have a look and just see how this team rates on the Fantasy Football Hub My Team tool. Okay, so according to the My Team tool on Fantasy Football Hub, this team is rated 93%. I actually used this tool to build this team in the first place because I find it so useful for building those teams and getting those predicted points and all the other stuff that this tool offers. It's really nice. So 67.6 predicted points in Game Week 2, which is pretty good. A Game Week rating of 89%. I think some of these players are letting the side down a little bit. Darwin, I think, is rated quite low by the algorithm on this app, but maybe I think that's going to quickly change when the algorithm kind of realises that Darwin's going to get regular play time. Fornals 4.2 predicted points against Nottingham Forest. You know what? We'll take that, to be fair. There's some high-scoring players. I don't think the algorithm likes Raya that much, so maybe he's a player you could think about switching out to a Sanchez or someone like that, or maybe a Ramsdale if you move Zinchenko to someone else. But yeah, not bad. 93% team rating. Now, like I always say, anything above 90, maybe 95 is a good team. But yeah, obviously there's going to be some exceptions, and I think Darwin is probably the one taking this rating down a little bit. But I think when we get to game week 3, this team is going to be re-rated at like a 95, 96, maybe 97%. It'd be quite interesting to see. So there we go. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like. Please do subscribe as well if you're new around here. If you want to go check out the My Team tool at Fantasy Football Hub, you can do so. Just link in the description. It's a pretty handy tool when building teams and checking out ratings and seeing what the algorithm thinks of teams, basically. But yeah, guys, we're going to have no more videos this week because it's Friday and tomorrow's Saturday. Tomorrow's deadline day. Hopefully see some of you on the deadline stream on Saturday morning, where we'll talk all of the final bits and bobs before the Game Week 2 deadline. But yeah, thank you once again for watching, guys. If you don't need to wildcard, don't do it, but if you do need to, this draft I think is pretty good, and I will see you later, mates. Bye bye.